he was a man of strong principles, and he wanted to get rid of what he saw as one of the biggest problems in the United States, slavery. It's a recurrent issue that comes up as we look at these early presidents, because we see how could they be advocating all men are created equal while owning slaves, especially because most of the early presidents were from Virginia, a southern state, a slave-owning state. Most of them owned slaves. Washington, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, they all were slave owners because they were Virginians, part of what was called the Virginia dynasty. Now, John Adams was from New England. He was not a slave owner, and he was against it, as was his wife. So John Quincy Adams wasn't a slave owner either, although it's believed that he may have owned some slaves, or rather just inherited them, rather employed them because of his marriage. But personally, he was very much against it, and he may be one of the first presidents to not employ slave labor at the White House. But he also began advocating for more and more legislature against it. And he saw the annexation of Texas and the Mexican-American War as a way to get more slavery into the United States. So that's why he was against it. And he was very vocal on that. Now, most presidents serve their time in office and then they retire to write their memoirs or go live on their plantation, maybe start a university. But he holds the record as the only president to then serve in Congress, because he still thought he had more to give to the country after being president for one term. He didn't try to run again after he was unsuccessful with his second election attempt. You see, he barely won the first time. It was a very hotly contested first election. There were 5 men who were going for the presidency at the time. His competitor, Andrew Jackson, who was a Democratic Republican, actually won more electoral votes. But John Quincy Adams beat him with the popular vote, so it was put into the House of Representatives to decide. And Henry Clay was in charge of that at the time. He was in favor of John Quincy Adams, so he won. But Andrew Jackson won by a significant amount when he came up for re-election, so instead, he decided to run to be part of the House of Representatives, and he was elected. And in that position, he was very much against a lot of the things that Andrew Jackson did. Throughout his career in politics, John Quincy Adams is believed to have been part of 5 different political parties. First Federalist, then Democratic Republican, and while he was in office as president, the Democratic Republican Party split off into the 2 separate parties, the National Republican Party and the new Democratic Party. It was the National Republican Party which supported him, and the Democratic Party began to be more with Andrew Jackson and have differing beliefs. So after he was no longer president, he was done with the Republican Party as well. So then he became part of the anti-Masonic Party, which was against the things that Andrew Jackson was doing. And it was under this party that he first was in the House of Representatives. Then a few years later, in 1834, he switched to the Whig Party, which was a new party, even though the name was quite old. It was a political party that had been used in England years back. So that was his final party, and he held his position in the House of Representatives until his death in 1848. He suffered a stroke on the floor in the chambers of the House of Representatives, and then he rested for a few days, then he came back because he wanted to die in Congress, and he got his wish. He did, in fact, die there. Throughout his life, John Quincy Adams wrote a lot, and he made many great speeches. He wrote under his own name, he wrote under other names, and he influenced people all across the world.